Welcome to It's All Good, episode 12. This is a podcast where I have people that do creative things on, talk about their creative outlets. So far we've had people that do things from making TikTok videos to making music to talking about their YouTube careers, and just any other creative things. You know, if this is you and you're listening and you do something that is creative and you want to come on here and talk about it, let me know. That's what this platform is for. This week is a very special episode. I have a friend who is not an in real life friend, but a YouTube friend on here. And he makes some really, really cool videos. I'm just so excited that he was down to be on. A few weeks back, probably actually longer than that, I commented on one of his YouTube videos because I've been commenting on him since he's been making them. And I was like, hey, dude, would you be down to be on my podcast? And I was just kind of putting that out there. And sure enough, he's nice enough and he's just so cool. And he was like, dude, I'm down to be on. So we recorded a podcast and talked about his YouTube career and a little bit behind the scenes of it. And you might get some information that you might have not otherwise got through his channel or through my channel. So he kind of talks about it, gets into some specifics, but then talks about some other fun stuff that has happened throughout making videos. So hopefully you can use that as inspiration. And I'm just glad. It's been probably at least a handful of months that I've had this idea in my head of him being on my podcast, but it wasn't until kind of recently that I felt like leaving a comment being like, are you down? So again, just super, super happy that he was down to be on. And I won't kill I won't kill too much more of your time, and I'll let you enjoy this episode. Dude, thanks for coming on my podcast. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. So for people listening that don't know who Carter is, I know Carter through YouTube. He used to make videos with Ryan. We'll get into that a little bit later on. So I saw him there, and then I came across his channel, and he's absolutely killing it on YouTube. And now we're here doing a podcast and going to talk about his adventure on YouTube and talk about... Carter and I have talked in the past. It sounds like we both went to film school, so maybe dive into that a little bit, and just some other. We're just gonna shoot the shit. So, with that being said, I guess first off, let's start from the top. Where are you from?
So I grew up in College Station, Texas, which is where Texas A&M is located, and I've always been a huge A&M fan, and so when I graduated high school, I had no real idea what I wanted to do, and I knew that YouTube was something I was passionate about, and I figured rather than make YouTube videos, I should go to film school before making YouTube videos. I don't know, and the only reasonable film school in the state of Texas is University of Texas.
Really?
So I spent a year at a junior college here, and then transferred to UT Austin. And it was a weird transition because, like I said, I grew up a huge A&M fan, and for people that don't know, the University of Texas is our arch nemesis, and so it was definitely strange. I came back to College Station most weekends to go to football games, so I still am very much an A&M fan.
So, do you think if it weren't for film school, you might have not started on YouTube?
I think at some point I probably would have. I think my thing was always I didn't see myself as someone who would do well in front of the camera.
Same.
I still don't think that I am built to be in front of the camera. I think I'm more so built to be the behind the scenes kind of guy, but I also recognize that the only way for me to get to a point where I can be the behind the scenes guy is I need to prove myself with my own channel.
Yep.
And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. maybe eventually start producing. But I think that film school just seemed like a reasonable route from the standpoint of, yeah, learn the skills and learn the business, because that's what I want to do. I don't necessarily want to be in front of the camera.
Right, right. I agree with that. I think I also went to film school. I went to Columbia College Chicago out here in
Okay.
I don't know if you watch. I did a podcast about it, so I don't need to like get into the nitty gritty again of it. But it was like a 50-50 experience. I wouldn't like be. I'm not going around telling everyone you have to go. It wasn't like that. From
Mm-hmm.
my experience at least, and I think you and I had a similar experience in a way that we both. It seems like we both were able to take some things from it, from what I'm getting from you at least.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm getting the feeling that you probably didn't have like the best experience at your film school either.
I wouldn't say it was bad. Like UT, so I actually majored in, I got a double major in
Hmm.
journalism and film. And so UT's journalism school at the time I went there was like number 2 in the
Oh
nation.
wow.
And then their film school was like one of the top state school film programs in the
Hmm.
country. And so it was like definitely a really good school. And so through that, we got a lot of interesting stuff. Like the year that my last year there, I didn't realize it was happening, but I could have been in Matthew McConaughey's class. Like he taught a class I could have been in. I just didn't even realize he was
Oh.
doing it. Um,
Oh.
and so like there was a lot of, it was a very cool experience. There was a really successful documentary that was made about, a lot of people don't know this. The University of Texas in the late 60s experienced the first mass shooting in U.S. history,
Oh.
where someone climbed up the UT Tower and just started picking people off. And there was a rotoscope documentary made. So if you're not familiar with rotoscoping, it's essentially you film um, humans doing stuff, and then you trace over each individual
Yep.
frame so it's animated. And so they filmed a lot of it either around campus or like kind of
Hmm.
without permission around campus and then off campus. So they were able to film it in a way where it looked like it was on campus, but it wasn't. And when that came out, it was like hugely successful. It's called Tower. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
It was shortlisted for an Oscar, but then I went to the screening of that on campus, and the directors were like, "We are looking for interns," and I was like, "I'll intern." And so I applied and interned with them for like 2 years, which eventually turned into like more like PAing
Yeah.
on their most recent film that just premiered at Tribeca Film
Oh
Festival.
wow. So
Um,
cool.
and so I think my experience at UT was good from that standpoint of like there was a lot of really cool experiences, and it was definitely a premier program.
Right.
I think that also um, I maybe didn't take advantage of it as much as I could have,
Hmm.
uh, just because I didn't really see myself fitting into the film community, I
Right.
guess, on
Right.
campus, because everybody there was like, I want to make like big movies,
Yeah.
or like they wanted to like immediately out of in college be like producing movies. And in my mind I was like, that's just not realistic.
Yeah.
Like I want to I eventually that's what I want to do, but like I want to do a more realistic approach to it, which is take maybe the documentary route or the YouTube route, and then eventually foray that into film production. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of my
Yeah, that
experience.
makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, I feel like that's like a pretty normal experience at like a film school too. A lot of people do. I noticed the
Yeah.
same thing too at Columbia. There's maybe not as many as you experienced, but I definitely like at least knew a handful of people at mine that were like they just want to go 0 to 100 like that, and they're
Yeah.
and I don't know about you, but like those people for me, they always had like their dad or like their mom that like made this big film that everyone knew about. So they were like, "Oh, I know my dad, so I can do it next." And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
always like I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, like it scared me a little bit too. I was like, I don't know. I just don't see how that's realistic either. And that's kind of I feel like I started working on. You said you did PA work on those films,
Mhm.
right? So I like worked on
Mhm.
Shameless, if you know that show. I
Oh
was doing
yeah.
PA work on that in Chicago. So it's really cool to hear that you did PA work as well.
Yeah, I would love to do more, but it's like there's not much around here. And Austin's kind of, it has a small film scene, and it's growing back to where it was before, but it's taken a big hit in recent years. Um,
Right.
because I mean, like places like Atlanta and stuff have kind of, the films that would have filmed in Austin at one point are now filming in
I heard.
Atlanta, and so it's more of like a small indie market.
Oh.
But yeah,
So, what is
yeah,
it like out there for you right now? Like your experience in like in the film world? Because I guess I didn't ask you that. So, you're like obviously like doing YouTube, but I don't know like what is that your like main job outside of YouTube? Are you like a gig worker, so you're going from gig to gig, or are you like what are you doing?
yeah. I was working for Ryan, and then I just kind of decided that like I I wanted to start my own thing, and I didn't. I felt like it was just a good time to do it. He was switching trajectories with his channel, and I just felt like if I didn't do it now, then that when I would be looking back in 30 years and be like still working for Ryan
Right.
and be like, I wish I had tried it back then.
Feel that.
Um, and so I quit working for Ryan, moved back in with my parents, and am basically just trying full time. It's a lot of like sitting in front of my computer for hours trying to think of ideas because like College Station is not necessarily the most inspiring place to film, but
Right,
I'm figuring it out.
right.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that a little bit later on because I've seen a lot. I want to talk about like, all your videos. I want to have you take me through a couple of them later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I guess like so you say you spent like a lot of hours like trying to figure stuff out too. Like what what is it like trying to get gigs or like trying to work in like the film world out there? Like, are you like for me at least like out here? It's like you have to know people, like wait on people to text you, or there's like I'm in like a group chat where PA work is just tossed out. People are like, "Hey, this is in
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta. This is in Chicago," and it's just a casual talk. But it might be different out there for you. Like I feel like it's knowing people, and maybe it's the same out there too.
Yeah, I think it's the same. I honestly haven't really. After working for, I immediately out of college started working for Ryan. I did that for about a
Oh
year,
wow.
and then immediately after that was like I'm gonna try and go full in on my YouTube channel. So I haven't actually experienced the PA
Mhm.
market or like what it's like to try and get gigs and
Mhm.
stuff. Um, but yeah, I imagine it's very
Mhm.
similar in terms of like you. It's about having connections or like building connections, especially in a small place like Austin.
Yeah.
Like I know in like LA, you could do the thing where you like get a job as like a mailroom
Yeah.
worker and then like befriend the person and get a PA job that way. And like Austin, there's just not a market for that.
Right,
So yeah.
right. So is that, but that's like the ultimate direction that you're headed in the long run from what I'm getting from you is like you're gonna do YouTube and then behind the scenes work on this film like career, I guess, right? Or is
Um,
YouTube the
I think
direction?
I think YouTube is the main direction
Cool.
right now. I think ideally I would continue YouTube and then grow it as a production company. So I think like you look at like some good examples of people that have scaled. I would think are like Mr. Beast scaled
Yeah,
obviously, so
yeah.
he has like a team of people, but th- what's the
Oh
hacksmith
yeah,
guy
yeah.
who does
The
like
houses,
the like he
the
has like a
underground
team, yeah,
houses.
he has like a
Yeah.
he has like no, that's Colin Furs. The hacksmith guy is the one that does like he built like a real life
Oh, that
lightsaber,
guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and like
Okay.
yeah, so he has like a full team of engineers working for him and stuff. And so like I see myself going more of like a maker route, and so
Okay.
it's more so like I'm not like engineering stuff, but I'm like making stuff. And so I think having a, the dream would be to be able to branch out and have like a team that you can then monetize. And so like you do a video where you're making um, the whole video is about you designing and making insert item, and then you then next week are selling it on your website.
Right.
And so I think figuring like the goal, I dream goal would be to get to a place where I can build out the YouTube channel where it's still like a maker YouTube channel, but I'm able to monetize in that
Mhm.
direction because that's not really something I've seen done, and I think it's a pretty untapped
Market.
market, especially like you've seen it. I've seen it done in podcasts. Um, Planet
Mm-hmm.
Money did it where they followed the production of a shirt from beginning to end, and then at the end you were able to buy the shirt.
Right.
And so I think it's an interesting concept, and it's something I'd like to explore in the future dream world.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, dude, it sounds like you're pretty dedicated to it. I mean, I'm not doubt. I for sure think you can get there with it. Like from what I've seen, like your videos are like you're on a roll. So
I
I see where
appreciate
you're
it.
headed
Yeah.
with that. And
Yeah.
not to take a step backward, but let's for people that don't know who Ryan is, because I think there's a lot of people that listen to this that
Hmm.
don't have any idea. So first off, I guess how I know who Ryan is. Um, I know of Ryan through Danny because I was watching his videos and I found Ryan in one of
Hmm.
Danny's videos. And so I actually went to high school with Danny. So that was, I just like one day saw someone told me he was a Viner. So I went from I saw like his Vine or something. Then I saw his YouTube. And then he saw like a few videos later, he made that video with Ryan. And then I was like, oh, Ryan's a cool guy. So I subscribed to Ryan. And then I saw the videos. He was making like commentary videos at the time that I subscribed to him.
Yeah.
And I think he was holding on to that for a while until recently when he changed direction. So I just like, it
Hmm.
just became like a habit of mine. Like whenever he posts a new video, like I just watched his underwater video the other day.
Hmm.
So that's just like a thing I do. But how do you guys know each other? I assume because the same state, or you went same school, or how do you guys know each other?
So So he went to Texas A&M on a track scholarship, and then he left after his first year, I
Hmm.
believe, because the NCAA was like, you can't have a YouTube channel and a scholarship,
What?
and that was kind of that was kind of his initial claim to fame was he was on like ESPN and stuff, and got verified off that I think, but
Whoa.
and so then and he was and so I was aware of him because I lived in College Station and I was aware of him. And so I was a month away from graduating from college 4 years later, and he posted on um, Instagram that he was looking for an operations
Hmm.
manager, and he was living in Austin at the time. And so I was like, well, I might as well apply. So I applied and got it,
Oh
mostly because
wow.
I think what a lot of people don't realize is when these YouTubers put out calls for like employees, because I was there, I did it several times when I was working for Ryan.
Right.
Uh, 99.999% of the applicants are like unusable.
Yeah.
Um, because it's just like random kids that are like, yeah, I could be a operations manager without any real idea of what it
Right.
means. And so yeah, that's kind of how I met Ryan.
Oh wow,
And
that's
then
cool. I
yeah.
the whole time I was like the way you guys like interact with each other on the internet and like in videos, I was like these two grew up together. I don't even need to ask. Like they grew up together. Like
Yeah. Nah.
it was just like the way you guys just interact with each other just seems so natural.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I think the other thing that worked really well for us is like I when I first started getting put in his
mhm.
videos, um, I knew that I needed to build some kind of persona in order to fill that gap within the video because it can't just be another Ryan in the video.
Right.
And so I think I realized early on that like Ryan can be the straight man, and then I can be the goofy dumb sidekick to his straight
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Um, and it because that's like a classic film TV
It
trope,
is.
and so I knew it
Yeah.
worked, and so that's kind of the direction I went with that, and it I think it worked
I
pretty
think
well,
so too.
and so yeah.
Can we talk? Let's do this. Let's talk about a couple of the videos you've done with him. There's been some that they're just so damn funny. There's this the one that I cannot get out of my head. I will never forget this one. Is the eyebrows one with the car. That
Uh,
video is
a lot of people don't a lot of people don't realize that was my third time getting my eyebrows waxed, uh, because we had rented out a drag strip at one point,
uh-huh.
or like the parking lot of a drag strip, and so we were it's the same place we filmed the giant Jenga video.
Oh yeah, yeah, I saw
uh,
that. Yeah.
a- and so like a couple weeks later we were like, we'll rent it out again, and we were gonna film a video where it was like who can make the best TikTok with pulling stuff. And so like I had like made like all this stuff for us to try and pull. I had made like a kite for us to pull. I had a giant kite. I had made a mechanism to be able to pull a tablecloth out from a table.
Holy cow!
It's similar to the one I used in my video. And then for Cheyenne's, the idea was like we each make TikToks, and whoever gets the most views wins.
Okay.
But it was so incredibly windy, and it just didn't. We ended up not using it.
Right.
But in that video, I like did the same bit where I like waxed my eyebrows off. And so yeah, so I did it for a video that never even got published. But yeah.
You know what happens when you go out in public and your eyebrows are waxed?
Yeah, luckily it was. I want to say it was in the midst of COVID. And
Okay.
So we had all isolated together, and so we determined that like we were filming together because I lived in the house that was our office. Right. And so like it was like a pod, but we determined the drag strip was a good video to make because it didn't require us to like be in a place with a bunch of people.
Right.
And so, yeah, so I think I was able to like wear a mask and a hat, and like it's not like people like notice me or anything. Yeah.
Oh my!
And luckily my eyebrows are naturally pretty fair, and
Yeah.
so it didn't really show too much.
Oh my goodness, that's pretty funny. What was
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good video. It's one for the books. For anyone that hasn't watched that,
Yeah.
go to Ryan's channel. It's like Ryan Trahan, and what's the video called again? It's called like the thumbnail.
I think it is me. I think the thumbnail and title may have been waxing his eyebrows or something.
Yeah. Oh, that video's
because
good.
all those videos blur together for me because it was like I was producing all of the different concepts, and so it's like 5 different concepts per video. And so like I don't remember which one we decided to use for the title. I just remember each individual
Yeah.
concept. Yeah.
So which out of the videos you've done with Ryan, like which ones were your favorite? Which one did you think you had like the most fun with? You'll be remembering when you're like, I don't know, later in life, like you're gonna be telling people about.
Trying to think. The one that I definitely am most proud of, probably, it's not my favorite video that we made, but the one I'm most proud of is the ice boat video. Just because I literally spent like 3 months making that ice boat. And like I had no idea if it was gonna float.
I remember
or not.
this video.
I had done like basic math, and I was like, well, an iceberg is like 90% of it is below the water, and so like that means it can hold 10% of its weight above the water. So like it needs to weigh this much in order for it to be able to carry Ryan. And so
Oh my god!
and then it was and I had no idea if it was gonna float or not. And so we had it on a trailer that had like a lift thing on it, a hydraulic trailer. So we took it to the lake and just hydraulicked it, and it slid right in, and it was like an inch from like cracking on the bottom of the boat ramp. It was terrifying.
Oh my god! And Ryan was in it?
No. We dropped it in, and then Ryan got in it. Yeah.
How are you coming up with these ideas? I mean, like, obviously, I mean, you kind of told me already, but like, what is it that like you're like that comes into your mind that helps you think of these ideas? Like when I talk to people about YouTube, they're always like, "Oh, I have a hard time coming up with like video ideas." Like, and I know it's hard. I'm not saying it wasn't hard for you either, because it for sure was.
Yeah, that was totally Ryan. Like, I think during my interview with him, I mentioned that my dad owns an ice company, and like a week later, he was like, "Hey, can you make a boat out of ice?" And I was like, "I'm trying to get this job right now, so like, yeah, I guess I can try and figure out how to make I had to like make like a mold out of foam, and then fill it with water and just stick it in my dad's freezer and let it freeze for like 3 months. Yeah. We had to like slowly, like every day, go in there and add a little bit more water so it would like freeze all the way up. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so cool. I remember watching that video. I think that was like part of the video, right? You were talking about that process a little bit, or like there was something with the process.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I had footage of me actually making it, and I tried to find the footage because I was just going to make a video about me making it.
Right.
And I cannot find the footage. I don't know. I have no idea where it went.
Oh man. It's a bummer when you lose little snippets like that.
Yeah.
Was there another video that like sticks out to you that on his channel that that you had fun with, or you were just like, ah, that was a cool one, or like I'm proud of it, or anything like that?
I mean, there's so many that like they all blur together for me because it was literally like I think we were doing like 2 videos a week, or maybe it was just one a week. I can't remember, but it was like on Monday he'd be like, okay, we're filming this, this, and this, and so it would just be a scramble for me the rest of the week to figure out how to get it done. And so I'm trying to think of like I can't think of anything like specifically. I can think of like certain ones that like are definitely very memorable. I remember the one where we attempted to do a tin can phone
Oh, okay.
across this river that was behind Ryan's house at the time. And so the idea was I had a tin can with a string attached to it, and then he had one. And he was going to swim across the river and talk into the tin can, and it was gonna work. The problem is Ryan didn't tell anybody that he's not a strong swimmer, and so he like legitimately got. Yeah, we talk about it in the video, and like it's not fake. Like he got maybe 50 feet, 75 feet from the other side of the river, and like goes under. And Haley's like, I think he's drowning, and I was like, no, I think he's just hamming it up for the camera, cause like it's a swim I could make, like it because I know how to float on my back, and I didn't realize Ryan doesn't know how to float on his back, and so I was like, I thought he was just like hamming it up for the camera because it's Ryan.
Yeah.
And he gets the other, and so like he goes under and like pushes off with his feet, I guess he said, to get like one big push to get back up, and he was luckily able to get to the other side, and I had to like swim across with a kayak to get him back. But yeah, that was the moment where I was like, okay guys, there's a new rule, which is if you don't feel safe doing something, you have to tell me, because if someone gets injured, that's not okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh man, there's a little bit of a risk factor going with some of these.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes them so. What's the word I'm looking for? Is it not enticing? But like that's what makes them like so. Like it grabs your attention when you're watching these videos, because like you know that like your heart, like there's a couple of them I've watched. I can't think of specific ones where like I felt my heart racing while watching them. And I'm like, this is a good thing. This is making me want to continue watching, because I hope the other person's gonna like come out okay, or I hope that whatever. Like even like we were just talking about like even when I saw your eyebrows get like waxed with the car, I like wanted to see what was gonna go on after that. Like
I think that definitely that kind of moment where it's like we're literally just like 5 people with a camera filming stupid stuff. And getting paid to do it.
Right.
That moment, like when most of the David Dobrik stuff was heinous, and like I'm not gonna justify that, but like the thing with the tractor where we hit Jeff Wittick's head on the
the
backhoe, it was I watched that and I was like, that was dumb, and like I do not think if I was in charge of that I would have ever allowed that to happen, but I also fully understand how it did happen, which is like he started as like a kid with a camera filming, and like at some points along the way he outgrew that, but he mentally didn't realize he had outgrown that, and didn't make the proper adjustments to have people there to say, hey, this shouldn't be happening, or we need to take the right precautions here. Yeah.
I know. It's funny I was thinking about that too. And that's, oh God, it's just so sad that like,
yeah.
And the whole situation, the whole video, I mean, that's a whole other topic in itself, but that whole thing is so sad. But I'm sure like you're saying, I mean, like people like you see that, and you know, like from experience of doing stuff, like when you're about to, it helps you realize like maybe when you're pushing the limits in certain cases, I guess.
Well, and it's also to a certain extent like my job is to help get a video made for next Friday.
Right.
And if there's not a video made for next Friday, we're in trouble. And so if I'm the one on set saying, hey guys, maybe we shouldn't do this, I'm the one that's like impeding our ability to get that video done.
Right.
And so there's like definitely a pressure. And that's why you need someone in a situation like that who doesn't have to worry about their job being at stake, or who doesn't have to worry about like the implications of them saying, hey, this isn't going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my God. Yeah. And I'm sure that's a lot to take in and a lot of pressure on you. Like, it's because
Yeah. Well, I mean, that wasn't necessarily like my job description
Right.
when I was working for Ryan.
Right.
Safety. I was not the safety manager. But like I did feel some obligation to like make sure that the things we're doing aren't going to like kill somebody.
Right. Right.
Especially when I'm the one like building it or like orchestrating it.
Right. Right. That makes sense. So I guess going off talking about making videos with Ryan, that I'm sure helped you make videos on your channel and kind of like helped you kind of like get stuff moving with your channel as well. On top of like your own experiences too, of course. So what I guess like I'm trying to think of like the best way to talk about it, because a lot of people like it's hard for people to get their own channels going. Like you see it all the time on YouTube. People are complaining. They're like, I can't do this. Like you and I don't know if we said this in the podcast or when we were briefing ahead of time, but like you and I both had that same experience where it's like hard to get in front of the camera because we're like behind the scenes people. And it takes a while. Like for sure, it wasn't until quarantine that I was comfortable being in front of a camera. Like if it weren't for quarantine, you and I would not be doing this right now. Like I would be too scared. But like I just started making TikTok videos during quarantine, and for some reason that helped me. Like, and I feel fine in front of a camera now. But yeah,
the weird thing is the weirdest thing is it's kind of sidetracking here. You're not in my contacts or anything, but like your TikTok, one of your TikToks has shown up on my For You page.
Whoa!
Before. Yeah.
No way.
I have no idea how. Yeah. It's crazy.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Maybe because I had one that hit 1 million views. Maybe that's why.
I'm sure that was it.
Was I holding like a Walmart board in my hand?
I honestly don't remember.
It might have been that. That one like it hit like Australia too. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Back to your question though. I think I'm pretty knowledgeable in the YouTube space, and for a person that doesn't have a very big channel, I'm knowledgeable in the YouTube space. Like I don't want to be cocky.
No, you are.
Like,
I would agree with that.
But and so I recognized that I had some momentum from working for Ryan, and I think I had 12,000 followers on Instagram at that time. And so I recognized that if I wanted to start a channel, the hardest part is the first 1,000 or so subscribers. And so I knew that it was the time to do it, and so I just started. And I think one thing people don't recognize is that the YouTube algorithm, so it did help me to have the initial 1,000 or so subscribers, obviously, because it gives you on every video, it gives you the initial
view count,
100 to 200 views.
Right.
But the counter to that a lot of people don't recognize, and I would almost caution people against the idea of just getting subscribers wherever you can, is that the YouTube algorithm looks at your subscribers and based on that determines who to recommend your videos to. And so my videos are not necessarily videos that are going to do super well with Ryan's demographic. I don't think. And so it's taken a while for the YouTube algorithm. So in the beginning, I was playing into like I want to cater to the audience I had with Ryan,
right?
And I think I switched at some point because I realized it just wasn't sustainable for me. And the YouTube algorithm has taken a while to adjust. I think it's starting to. I think it's finally kind of pushing me in the right direction. But that's why I don't like promoting my videos on like Reddit and stuff, because unless you're really careful about where you're promoting your videos, like my vending machine
Right.
video, if I were to, I promoted that on several vending machine Reddit
Oh.
groups, and the issue with that is then all of a sudden I can look at that video and see which videos it was most recommended
Right.
under, and like one of them was like a fancy vending machine in Japan, and then the other, which makes sense, but also it's not really like the proper placement, I don't think, for my videos,
Yeah.
because I'm like a maker channel. I'm not a vending machine channel. Uh, like and the and the other one it was recommended under was like how Japan beat Korea in a war or something like that. It was like a, and I was like, I don't know what that has to do with my video, but like cool, I guess.
Oh, that's so
And so
weird.
it's definitely, I'm trying to work on creating content that clumps me with channels that make content similar to
Right.
mine. And so what I think I've come down to now is like I'm trying to intentionally make, I'm going to like Mark Rober's channel. I'm looking at his videos and I'm looking how can I make videos that will get recommended to Mark Rober's audience.
Right.
And so like for example, he did a video, it's also how I'm trying to start coming up with concepts. Just like I go to a channel that's done really well. I look at their most viewed videos and I look at their concepts and their thumbnails and I say, how can I do this but in my own way?
Right.
And so, like Mark Rober, for example, had a really viral video where he dropped 200 um, wallets around in different cities around the country
Whoa.
to test what the most honest city in the country was in terms of like who will return it to
Right.
him. And the thumbnail was like him with like a stack of wallets, and so I was like, okay, how can I replicate that? And so I spent all day yesterday and today compiling a list of I'm doing a video where the concept is sending letters to 200 random addresses across the country.
Whoa.
Um, and the thumbnail was going to be very similar to his, which is like a stack of letters.
Yeah.
Cause and like I got like yellow envelopes, they
Yeah,
pop
they
more,
do.
but and so that's kind of the direction I'm going in. And then like looking at what information I can gain off that in terms of like I'm making sure the demographic breakdown is even enough to where like I'm hitting areas that are throughout the whole economic spectrum, and then also in each city that I go to, I'm doing two. I have 100 different cities that I've chosen, and then within each city, I make sure that one house looks like it has like a kid, like a kid living there.
Right.
So like a basketball hoop out front, or like
Oh,
a trampoline or
that's smart.
something, and then the other one looks like it's probably like an older person, so that I have some kind of like even distribution, different demographics, and so that's kind of I don't know how I got here, but that
Yeah.
where the conversation went. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing right now, which is focusing more so on grouping.
Yeah.
I'm trying to group audiences that are interested in my content that way.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So you're not. So you can be done with the vending machine audience.
Yeah. Where I can make a vending machine video, but it gets pushed to the audience I want it to be pushed to. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's a good idea. I really like that. That's really smart thinking of you.
Because, like, if you think about it, like Mark Rober, when he posts his squirrel, his squirrel maze video that he made, it's not like that video got pushed to like the Parks and Wildlife audience. Like it got pushed to an audience that YouTube knew would be interested in it.
Right.
Once they clicked on it.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I'm trying
That's
to
smart.
do.
And I think like clicks and views and like watch time are like all big things on YouTube too. And like it's so much to think of too, because like so I've had YouTube for like 10 years, but I've like actively used it for like probably like 5 or 6. And I've only had a couple videos. Like I have one that has like 5,000 views on it, another one that has like 4,000. I've had a couple do well, but it's like a lot of it too comes from like the thumbnail and like the clickbait and like the title. And I think that's one thing I see you like really excelling in right now. Like when I look at your videos and I look at the thumbnail, they're very like clickable. You have like capital letters in a lot of them, and they're very like attention grabbing. And that part's so hard. And like I don't know, like when I work on that stuff on my channel, I struggle with it because like and hearing from what you're telling me right now of like gearing towards like what other people are doing so it can group it to a different audience, I think that's where I'm like falling short. But yeah, I guess how does your process go with like thumbnails and like attention time, and because it is such a hit or miss thing, it's so stressful.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think my main issue is my watch time. Like, I have really good retention. I have most of my videos are between 60 and 70%
Well, that's
retention,
good.
which is pretty good. I think I can do better, but I also think that what that means is I just need to make my videos longer because I'm getting the retention, but the length is the issue. And so if I want to get the watch time necessary for YouTube to recommend it, I need to make the videos longer, which is hard for me because I'm not like the type of person that's just like casually talking to my camera. Like everything I do is scripted and like really tight cuts. And so lengthening that is definitely gonna be harder. But I think also, so I am attempting right now to figure out how to use YouTube ads to test video concepts. So, it's not working yet. Like I haven't quite figured it out because there's not really any correlation. But I've been attempting to run ads on. I have fake videos that are unlisted on my channel that I run ads on with the thumbnail and titles of the videos I've already made.
Oh.
So I can that way I can try and find some kind of correlation in terms of like if I can target it to the right audience. I can look at like click-through rate on ads. So the idea would be eventually I'll be able to say, I want to make a video. I want to make my sending letters to 200 houses video.
Right.
And I can make an ad, run an ad with that thumbnail and title and see the click-through rate on that. And if the click-through rate is high enough compared to my other videos, I could say, yeah, that's a viable concept. And then even after that, I can then use the ads to test different thumbnails and titles so that when I'm done with the video and ready to publish it, I like know this thumbnail and title is going to be the most successful. But it hasn't started working yet.
Interesting.
I think the issue is I'm targeting too broad an audience. I need to maybe just like target. You can target specific creators' audiences.
Yeah, you can.
So maybe just like target like Mark Rober's audience or something, and see among Mark Rober's audience how does this concept perform.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. It's like I said, not working, but hopefully.
Yeah, and I feel like to like the average person, it might sound a little bit complicated. Like all that being said, but I feel like everything that we're talking about, or like that you're talking about, at least, is like the right thing. Like that's the stuff that people need to know to like make it happen. It's like it's like a lot of work. It's definitely not something to just dive into.
Well,
go ahead.
I look at people like Mr. Beast and Mark Rober, and the way that they are so successful is analytics.
Yeah.
Like I know for a fact Ryan was friends with Mr. Beast, and
Yeah,
through
I remember
him,
that.
I heard that like Mark Rober does the like ad testing. Like he tests absolutely. I think he does ad testing. He tests like absolutely everything.
Wow.
And that's why all of his videos go so viral is because he has figured out how to like test concepts to make sure that they will. And Mr. Beast similarly has a model of like the reason all Mr. Beast videos are so similar is because he's looked at the analytics and he recognizes if I've made a video of me giving $1 million if you make this basketball goal, and it worked, why would I change it?
Right.
And so he says, how can I make another video that's almost identical in concept, but it's different enough to where it warrants another video?
Right.
And so like it's a lot of like playing the game, and it's something I haven't been doing. Like all my videos are like less than 5 minutes, 5 minutes in length, and like that's just never gonna work. And so I need to just start playing the game and bowing down to the YouTube overlords.
Well, it sounds like you're doing that with this letters video that you have coming up. Which, when's that video drop?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm still in the I'm still in the process of select. I have like 20 cities left to go through and find homes.
Oh my god.
And then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna send them out hopefully tomorrow, and then probably I don't know how much time I have to give until they can give them back. So maybe like the idea is like hopefully the idea is see how many people respond to the letters. I'm putting self-addressed envelopes inside, so
It's so cool.
I guess maybe like a month until I'll give them like a month to respond, and after that, yeah.
That's so cool. I'm so excited for that video. This
Yeah.
constant.
My
Go
other
ahead.
thought. My other thought is potentially to make like a Facebook group and try and get all the 200 letter people to like join the Facebook group.
Oh.
Um, but
Oh my
yeah,
god. You should do something like on like TikTok for that even. I feel like would be like kind
yeah,
of cool.
yeah.
But holy cow, yeah, I'm excited for that. So, aside from like logistics, I'm sure like sure that probably helps people that are like trying to do YouTube. Um and aside from like logistics, so like what has been like your favorite? I asked you this earlier with Ryan's channel, but on your channel, which video did you like enjoy the most? The one that I felt was like the most relatable and I felt was funny. I think I like it might have been the video that I commented on, maybe not, but it was that the like making the perfect Tinder profile video.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that one on your channel that was so funny. That one had me laughing all over
yeah.
the place.
That one, I really like that one. Honestly, I think the ones that I personally like the most are, like I said, the ones where I'm like making stuff. Cause like I think when I was working for Ryan, a lot of what I did was like uh, building and I mean not a lot of what I did, but a chunk of what I did was like I made a giant seesaw or like I figured out how to make insert thing.
Right.
And so I think that being able to explore
The
that
maker
more
direction.
is something I'm definitely interested in. And I'm definitely trying to figure out how to make the videos not just like a montage of me making stuff
Right.
like they are now.
Right.
But I think the vending machine one is one I'm pretty proud of just because that's the biggest project I've ever done. Um, I think the the motorcycle sidecar that I made for
That
my
was
dog,
sick.
I really
I like the
like.
vending machine one too. That was really cool.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Um,
Holy cow. So wait, would you mind like taking me through one of those videos like the vending? I guess we sort of already talked about it, but like what was like I guess like what did you have to go through to like make that video or like what did it take out of you?
mhm. So I want to say it was like 2 or 3 months
Mhm.
ago. Was like I decided I was gonna make a video where the idea was like I make a vending machine that sells insert thing that shouldn't be in a vending machine,
Right.
and then like put it somewhere in public, and uh, and it's at some point I just like so I that week like went out and bought a 60s Coke machine from some guy in Dallas. I had to drive like 3.5 hours to get it, um, each way, and so I I got it and it worked except for like the mechanism didn't quite work, and so I spent like 2 weeks on and off like tinkering with that until I eventually gave up on the coin mechanism and just
Oh,
installed a
yeah.
button. But and so I had it sitting at my dad's warehouse, and I still could not think of what I wanted to put in
Mhm.
it. And at some point, I was just like, okay, I need to make a video out of it. And I think that champagne was interesting because I like the juxtaposition of like a grungy vending
Yeah.
machine with like classy champagne. And so I think that's kind of why I went in that direction. And
Sure.
also like the Kendall Jenner, or I guess it was Kylie Jenner, vending machine was like a good like segue into the video.
Right.
And so that was kind of my thought process on that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's smart. And I think it obviously you're having fun with it too. I think that's another thing that's important with
Hmm.
YouTube is like you clearly as maker thing is something you're interested in clearly. And so I think it shows through most in your videos too because I've seen videos where people
Hmm.
like are doing stuff just for clicks but they're not having
Oh yeah.
fun and it shines right through their video. Like, you see it, you know it. And like I'll be the first to say it. I'll admit I've done videos like that before where I've like
Yeah.
made it and then I've like sat back like 3 days later and I'm like, well, shouldn't have made that video.
Yeah.
Like,
I,
yeah, it's a weird thing.
yeah. I think the counter to that is all. I agree that you should have fun when you're making videos. I think the counter to that is I don't want to see people's beach
Yeah,
vacations. Like
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
care. I don't care that like it's cleaning my closet while listening to music video. Like, if you have an audience and you're making content where it's literally just you, like, this is my day I'm living, and your day is like going to the bank and like and being cute while you do it, like it's just such a disservice to your audience, and it's almost insulting to your audience that it's that like have a point to your video, or like do something, put some effort into it. And sometimes and so like I agree you should have fun while you're making videos, but like
I see what you're saying.
Find a way to have fun and make like actual
content,
something that's actually interesting, and not just like you doing whatever you want.
Right. I see what you're saying. So it's like you're not having fun because you're having fun. You're having fun because it's like something you're enjoying, as opposed to just like doing something for fun in your regular life. So I wouldn't just make a video of me being all right, I'm going outside on my skateboard. All right, rolling down the street.
Well, but I think there's content there. It's just like find the hook.
The hook, exactly.
Like if the video is like I'm going skateboarding, what's the hook?
Right.
So maybe the video is I'm trying to learn this new trick today. Can I learn this new trick by the end of the day? Or I'm going to try and skateboard across my town. Can I do it? Have some kind of hook to it.
Dude, I'll have to like at some point, we'll have to like hop on another call at some point. I'll have to like you have to like toss me ideas, and like we'll have to talk ideas at some point. I like, I'm like I don't know, this is another thing I want to talk to you about. So I've heard a lot of other big creators, including Ryan. He made a whole video about it. There's like a slump you hit when you're like a creator on YouTube, where like you just, for whatever reason, you don't, like, you lose, I don't know what it is, like you lose track, or you lose like this like drive that you have to make videos, and you're like, do people even like this anymore? Is this like the right direction? Like, it happens to all of us. Like I've heard Curtis talk about it. Like, what has that been like for you? Have you experienced that?
I have. I think it's definitely more prevalent in like smaller creators, and definitely in creators that are like Curtis, who just films in his room without like a team around him. I think that, and that's why as I grow, I want to like potentially build out a team around me, because I was listening to I want to say it was a clip from Impulsive, where like Mr. Beast like called Mike in the middle of it or something, or maybe it was just Mr. Beast's episode of Impulsive, but he was talking about how like he doesn't have creator burnout, because the way he looks at it is like creator burnout occurs when you just don't want to do things,
right?
Or like you're tired of like having to come up with concepts every single day, or like you're tired of like having to film every single day. And so his solution is like, if you identify the things, and obviously this doesn't work for small channels, but identify the things that you don't want to do and just pay someone to do it for you. Like if you're a large creator who like has burnout because you can't come up with video ideas, hire, when I was working for Ryan, which we took this idea from Mr. Beast, you have a team of people who every morning you wake up and in your inbox you have a spreadsheet of 50 ideas from like 4 different people.
Whoa.
And then you pay them like a little bit, and then you pay them bonuses based on like if you use their video concepts or not. And so like
that's so cool.
Yeah, and I think that like the reason like 50 or 30 is like a important number to hit is because like, and this is a good point, brainstorming in general, is like the first 10 ideas anybody has are garbage. It's once you get past those first 10 ideas that they're good. And
Say
so,
no
like,
more.
You set like a high list. You have people whose job is just sit around all day and like think of ideas, and like, and then you just wake up in the morning and read them all. And a lot of times when I was working for Ryan, we did this for a while. We stopped doing it eventually, but I would be reading through them, and I would think to myself, I don't like this video idea, but it made me think of this other video idea.
Right.
And so like, I think the way to avoid burnout is obviously at our level it's not doable, but like as you grow, just hire out. Like you don't if you don't want to have to do cleanup after videos, pay someone to come do cleanup after
Right,
videos. Like
absolutely.
there's so many creators that don't want to reinvest in their channel, and don't want to large creators who don't want to reinvest in their channel, and I think that's in the end why you have so many large creators that have burnout like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's I didn't even know that idea thing was a that's a really good way around it, I guess, for people.
Hmm.
Like that's a great solution to it. And I is it did do you know did Ryan end up do you remember what video I'm talking about? It was like during quarantine or something where he was like I don't know what direction to go with my channel. It was like him sitting in his room. Do you remember
Hmm.
you remember that video?
That was, I want to say that was like the week after I left, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I know which one you're talking about. It was, I think, trying to remember exactly kind of what all led up to that. Oh, I think it was in the wake of the like video that guy made that like exposed them
Oh,
or
that's right.
whatever.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
I want to say it was in the wake of that, and
Yeah.
they were already in the process of like stepping back and adjusting their
Right.
channels. Like they were trying to do. They had just bought a house in Fredericksburg that they were
Mhm.
remodeling, and they were going to make a series out of that,
Right.
and so I think yeah I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah.
I think it's a similar deal, which is like he. I can't speak for him, so I don't
Yeah, you don't need to
necessarily
get
want
into
to.
any details if you don't anything
Yeah,
that's too much.
yeah. But I think it's a similar thing, which is like it's exhausting having to come up with videos day after day after
Hmm.
day, especially if those videos are not necessarily uh, true to you as a person.
Right. Right.
Um, and I think that may have been a part of it.
Yeah, and I think the like I guess the reason I bring it up is because it goes to show like on his channel now, he's obviously killing it. He was doing those like make ones. What was it like turning 1 cent into like 1,000 or whatever. He was like he out of that came this whole series of all these videos that he's making now, and he's found a
Yeah.
whole new path and he's made something so cool out of it. And I bring it up
Hmm.
as like it's cool that people can come out of that rut and do such cool things from it. It's not
Hmm.
like always the worst thing.
I think that what you see happening more and more is like, first of all, I think that a lot of these creators that are like, I'm burnt out, I have to leave the platform. A lot of them are like OG
Mhm.
creators. And so they're people who grew up on the platform and have an audience not necessarily because they are making good
Right.
content, but just because they were there before anyone else was. And so they're now in an ecosystem where like people are like, you know what, Grace Helbig's content is just not that good.
Yeah, yeah,
Like there's better stuff out there, and nothing against Grace
yeah.
Helbig. Like she seems like a very lovely
Hmm.
person, but like she's just an example
Right.
of like there's a lot of creators who were kind of grandfathered in, and Mr. Beast and Mark Rober and Ryan and a lot of people came along and said, if you guys are going to be complacent and not innovate and not grow, then we're gonna do it for you and we're gonna crush you.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and like there are creators who have been able to adapt, and so like before his whole scandal, like Shane Dawson is a great example of
Hmm.
someone who was an OG creator who gained his popularity because he was just one of the very few people on the app, and he for a long time was like not getting views at all.
Yeah,
But it's about constantly reinventing
it
yourself
is.
and if eventually everybody's channel is going to die, and the question is how do you pivot?
Hmm.
And I think that the test of a good YouTuber is someone who cannot have one good idea, but can pivot to multiple good ideas throughout their
Yeah, and I
career.
think that points like to Ryan, like with what we saw
Hmm.
happen. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's really cool to hear like I don't know, it's really cool just to hear like all your experiences with like YouTube and with Ryan and like your creator and how your mindset works and all that. It's just like it's really nice because I think again like this goes just as a loose thing being said around it, but like being a creator is like a you're in the arts and it's like this
Yeah.
hard thing. It's not a path that everybody takes. Because it's hard, like you were saying earlier, it's hard to monetize on YouTube, and it takes a while. It takes like sponsors, it takes like the right ideas, it takes views, it takes engagement, all that sort of stuff to count on how much you're gonna make and like what's gonna evolve it and testing and all that. So it's really cool that you're taking the dive into the YouTube planet.
I definitely see it as like 3-4 years. Like I don't expect my channel to overnight be at 1 million subscribers. Like I am willing to go 3 years and still not be at a place where I'm sustainable, because I know that it's like the slow growth is what allows you to build a sustainable YouTube channel over a really long time.
Yeah. And the YouTube algorithm, when I was talking to Serena, she made this video. It was a what are they called? It was a oh god, I'm at loss of terms, but it was like her version of like the Very Really Good podcast, but it was like it was like a play off of it basically. But she said she made that video and it was on her channel. And like nothing happened of it. I don't remember the time she said. I think it was like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or like just nothing happened of it. And it was like it chilled at the views. And all of a sudden one day the algorithm was just like boom, and it just caught it and it rode the wave and it got like 32,000 views. And part of it too was that Curtis mentioned that video in the podcast, and he talked about it, so that brought in another handful. But I know she said that like the algorithm like picked it up too, and I think that can be something that can happen with like your videos, for example. Where, like, as soon as it hits that audience you're talking about, you can just, boom, and you can start riding that wave from there.
Yeah, I think it's also a matter of, like, if my very first video went viral, that would have been cool. But also, I think it would have kind of sucked because of the fact that I didn't have anything on my channel at that point. And so, like, if a video goes viral on a channel that's completely unpopulated, like, no one's going to subscribe to that channel. Like, the way that... I know that I need to populate my channel with quality content, and that way, when I do have a video that goes viral, there's stuff for people to look at and to determine, oh, this is somebody I want to follow. And so that's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah, I think that's a good outlook on it, honestly. I think we all need to be thinking like that for YouTube, because again, like you were saying, it's a tough thing, and there's so many logistics. I'm sure you and I could probably sit here for like 8 hours straight, like talking more logistics on like YouTube. There's so much to it. But I guess like, I don't know, I feel like that's like a pretty good note to leave off on for the podcast. Is there any do you have, I guess we sort of already went over a lot of advice, but if there was like one final thing you could tell someone that's like, I guess starting a YouTube or has had one for a while that's trying to get their little kick, what would be that little like elevator pitch you'd give to them?
I would say that like don't look at like Emma Chamberlain or David Dobrik and be like, I'm going to make that kind of content, because I can guarantee you it's not going to work for you, because you're not Emma Chamberlain and you're not David Dobrik. Like, just make as much stuff as you can and constantly be trying new things, and like eventually you'll figure out your style. Like, I'm still trying to figure out my style and what my channel is, and it's best to figure that out while you're small, because once you grow, it's a lot harder to change directions.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's great advice. If you're listening, freaking write that down. Record yourself saying it in your phone, save that somewhere. It's great advice. But yeah, man, dude, thanks again. I appreciate you hopping on the pod. It's fun having you on here, man. I
appreciate you having me.
I messaged you on Instagram. I think we talked on YouTube, and I was like, I don't know if he'll be down. I kind of just like threw a look out. You're like, yeah, I'm down. I was like, cool. I'm glad he's down, and I appreciate the grind that you're on with YouTube. So I was like, Carter's a cool dude, and I'm sure he'll be down with the podcast. So it's nice to have you on here and have people listening, and hopefully people learn stuff from it.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. I'm not. I don't pretend to be an expert, so
Well,
everything I said could be completely wrong. I don't know.
if we wake up tomorrow, there's just articles disproving everything we've said.
People do the exact opposite of what I say, and they like blow up.
Pretend you are David Dobrik.
Yeah, they're making like 1 second long videos.
Oh man. All right. Well, that's a good note to end her on. But thanks again, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate
hopping
it.
on, and we'll talk again soon. Well, I kind of forgot to record an outro, so here's the outro. If you're new here, thanks for listening. Appreciate you watching. If you made it to the end, or even if you just watch halfway through and enjoyed the conversation, I really appreciate it. Feel free to hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, or maybe hit the follow button if you're listening on Spotify. Really appreciate anyone who listens to this. This is all still kind of a new thing for me, so been having lots of fun on it, and hopefully you're having fun too. But without further ado, thanks again for listening, and stay tuned. I try to post weekly or bi-weekly, so let me know if you want to hop on or have a friend that wants to hop on. I'm open to recommendations, and yeah, we'll talk to you in the next episode. All right, bye-bye.